Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Hour 19. That's right, 19 of the 5th annual Notre Dame Day, the global celebration of all things Notre Dame. We're broadcasting live from the Grosjean family loft in the new Duncan Student Center alongside iconic Notre Dame Stadium. My name is Jack Nolan. Fans of Notre Dame sports in our viewing audience today might recognize me as the voice of Notre Dame from my programs on Fighting Irish Media or from my 30-plus years of covering Notre Dame athletics. My co-host in the Notre Dame studio today is also no stranger to the world of sports, Justine Ward. How's it feel to be back at your alma mater?
Jack, it feels great. There's just an aura to this campus as soon as you step on it. Great to be back home. I'm from the class of 2012, and New York sports fans may recognize me from my day job at Sportsnet New York, where I work as an anchor, host, and sideline reporter. I'm so excited to be here for such a unique event. No other college or university in the world does anything like this, Jack. 29 straight hours of storytelling. And one of the things we're most excited about is a special performance later tonight featuring Irish singer, songwriter, and former member of Celtic Woman Chloe Agnew, as well as members of the Chicago cast of the Broadway smash hit Hamilton. They're putting on an exclusive concert at Layton Hall in honor of Notre Dame Day. That's happening from 7 to 9 p.m. tonight, so don't forget to tune in. And if you're in the area, swing by the DeBartolo Performing Arts Center ticket office. You can see if there are any concert tickets still available. They are free.
Absolutely free. There is no better value in entertainment anywhere on the planet today than those tickets. Now, don't forget to tune in during the 9 p.m. hour to watch the championship rounds of the second annual Fighting Irish 40. Students will race under the lights in Notre Dame Stadium to find out who is the fastest on campus. The men's division will include the two fastest Notre Dame football players. You do not want to miss it. Now remember, if you're looking for even more Notre Dame Day content, head over to our ND Loyal Facebook page, where we're streaming exclusive interviews, outtakes, and much more.
We are everywhere, all that, and we're not even to the best part. Throughout the rest of the show, we'll be giving away a challenge fund created by 5 donors. It's worth over $1 million. The fund can go to residence halls, academic units, athletic clubs, and student organizations on campus. Who decides where that money goes, Jack? You do. Yes. You Notre Dame Day viewers have the power to impact the areas of the university that you care about most. So when you make a financial gift to Notre Dame Day, you earn votes that you can give to any of the 900 organizations on campus. The more votes each organization receives, the larger percentage of the challenge fund they will earn at the end of Notre Dame Day tonight. All you have to do is visit NotreDameDay.nd.edu, click the Give and Vote button. Time's ticking, so make sure you go vote.
And you don't have to give a lot of money either. For just $10, you get 5 votes. Really, we're just looking, if everybody gives $10 today who watches this show, it's going to be a huge success. Now, we've got a jam-packed hour of stories ahead, including an interview with a Notre Dame men's basketball legend, a look at the new Rasmus Family Club, a special announcement from a rock and roll legend, and a culinary creation by a Notre Dame sophomore turned gourmet chef. If you're in the area, come on over to the Duncan Student Center and help us celebrate. And if you're just too far away, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy this next hour of great Notre Dame stories. And remember, you can always find our complete broadcast viewing guide at NotreDameDay.nd.edu. Our first guest is going to tell us about a Notre Dame alum on the path to sainthood. But before we get started, we're going to check in with our social media center to see how your votes are tallying up.
Hey, thanks so much, Jack and Justine. Thanks to everyone who's made Notre Dame Day 2018 such a big success so far. Just to kind of set the stage for you if you're joining Notre Dame Day for the first time, as they mentioned at the top of the hour, today's the day to make a $10 gift to the university and then have that gift amplified by receiving 5 votes that you can cast to any of over 800 areas of interest: student clubs, local Notre Dame scholarships, academic centers and institutes, athletic teams, you name it. And your votes will help distribute this year's $1.1 million challenge fund. It's the largest we've ever had. It's thanks to 5 very generous benefactors out there in the Notre Dame family. Such an exciting day. We want to give you a quick update. Our leaderboard specifically, again, I've said the Notre Dame clubs are in such a heated battle this year around the country, specifically in our 1842 category challenges. Take you through just a couple groups here that are really exciting. Group A, Notre Dame clubs in Group A. Eastern North Carolina has come out of nowhere this year. They are currently ahead, the traditional powerhouse in this category, the Club of Lake County, Illinois, by only a small handful of votes. This is going to flip-flop a few times, I have a feeling, before we get to midnight Eastern this evening. Club of Phoenix is also in striking distance as well, as is the Club of Cleveland. So congrats to everyone in Group A. Group B as well is very tight. Northeastern New York, again, a club we have not seen much of over the years. We are so glad to have you joining us on Notre Dame Day this year. 242 votes right now compared to 227 from Jersey Shore. This is a close one as well. There are thousands of dollars of our challenge fund at stake, and they will go directly to deserving students with those Notre Dame Club scholarships. So if you want all the leaderboards, all the challenges, head to NotreDameDay.nd.edu. Make that minimum $10 gift and cast your 5 votes. Still lots of time to do so, but the time to get out there and move up the leaderboard is right now. Sarah, the best way they can do it is with social media. So what are we seeing out there?
Social media. So the board behind Jonathan and I shows the groups that are using that hashtag ND Day. And this is Instagram, Facebook, and it has been really fun to keep an eye on this board because it just shows the varying interests of the Notre Dame community. So we'll have golf, and then we'll have the women's liturgical choir, and then we'll get some shots of the line bikes going around campus. And it's just really amazing to see the things that this community cares about and the many things that they're involved with.
It's amazing. 5 years of Notre Dame Day. It's really all for our students here in this amazing new Duncan Student Center. So thankful that you're here to join us. For now, let's send things back upstairs.
Thank you for that update. Keep those votes coming in. In December of 2017, Pope Francis approved the decree of heroic virtue on Father Patrick Peyton, a Congregation of Holy Cross priest and a 1937 graduate of Notre Dame, making him venerable. And joining us now to discuss this special recognition is Father Gary Chamberlain, a priest in the Congregation of Holy Cross and the director of the Master of Divinity program here at Notre Dame. And Father Gary, thank you so much for coming on Notre Dame Day. Welcome to the set.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And I want to talk about Father Peyton, who was almost a rock star, you could say. Could you tell us a little bit about his story?
He really was. He's an amazing man. He was born a poor farmer's son in Ireland. He came to this country with his older brother Thomas to basically get a better life and send money back to the family farm. His sister knew he was interested in the priesthood, so got him into the with a priest from Holy Cross. And he and his brother both were ordained together, and both served a long time at Holy Cross. But Patrick was very sick. He got tuberculosis while he was still a seminarian and was diagnosed late stage and pretty much without much of a prognosis. But his sister Nellie came from Scranton, Pennsylvania, and reminded him of the power of Mary, the Mother of God, and he started praying the rosary. He always did, but he prayed with the intention of being healed, and he was completely healed of his tuberculosis. And from that moment on, spent the rest of his life committed to spreading the Catholic faith and the idea of Mary is our friend and Mary can intercede for us.
And he's up for canonization. What is canonization in the church?
Canonization is the process by which the church says that we know somebody is already in heaven and with God. So there's multiple steps. He's venerable, which means that he has been found heroic in virtue. And so from this point on, they will still study his life, study his effects, see if he's still having effects now in terms of interceding for people who are praying through him to God, and if there are miracles that are attributed to his intercession, he will move on to blessed and then canonized or full saint.
So if that happens, what will happen? It's not every day a Holy Cross priest gets this honor.
So far, it's been never. So we have a Holy Cross brother who is a saint, but this is the first one associated with the University of Notre Dame, the first Notre Dame student that I'm aware of, who's being considered. So I think what we'll have is a lot of parties. We'll have a lot of celebration, but hopefully it's intended for us to see somebody who walked this earth like us, who did things like we do, who lived life in such a way that he can show us how to be good Catholics and good Christians.
And he certainly has a lasting legacy. You might have heard some of the phrases, the family that prays together, stays together. What do you think his lasting impact is?
I think his lasting impact in Holy Cross and in the church is one of deep faith, but mostly perseverance. Like many people who did great things, he started with lots of opposition, or at least not much help. He was the chaplain to a boys' high school in Albany, New York, when all of this started, and he just started writing letters and writing letters. By the 1960s, he had 1 million people at a rosary in the Philippines. It's amazing. And what he's done, and he continues to do, I believe in the intercession of those who've gone before us. And I think he works for us, he works for Holy Cross, he prays for the needy, the poor. South America is still in love with him because of the efforts there, much of Asia. He's an amazing mentor for so many of us.
Father, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on and sharing his story. I have my rosary. I keep it very close. I say my prayers.
Good.
Okay,
So
good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Stick around. The 5th Annual Notre Dame Day continues after this. We're going to take a quick break.
For a national championship or overtime. Ogumbawale for the win. Good! Enrique Ogumbawale wins the national championship for Notre Dame.
Thinking 2 nights in a row, I don't know if this is going to happen again, the miracle, but it is Easter Sunday, and all the Catholics out there were praying for us. Definitely needed it all.
And the Irish do it again for the first time in 17 years.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Jack Nolan. Our next two guests come from two seemingly opposite disciplines. Alan Huebner is in the Department of Applied and Computational Mathematics and Statistics here at the university, while Jordan Webb works with Fighting Irish student athletes in strength and conditioning. They're collaborating on a unique project meant to harness the power of data for use in Notre Dame athletics. And here to tell us more are Alan and Jordan. Welcome to you both. Thanks for taking some time to visit with us today. Talk to me about the data. What kind of data are you collecting?
Jack, we're looking at a wealth of data. We're looking at 3D motion capture, biomechanical technology data. We're looking at wearable load monitoring technology. We're looking at injury history, body composition tracking, force plate data. But that's just the beginning. And these aren't just one-off analyses. Jordan and I had to initially build database infrastructure to get data in, get data out, and communicate with people seamlessly.
All right, you collect all this fascinating data, and you guys sit down. What do you do with it?
Well, I think a big part of it, Jack, is first and foremost, the reason we're doing all this is to help improve our student athletes' experience at Notre Dame, and that comes down to helping them improve their performance, as well as helping them to reduce the chance of their injuries. So as we kind of collect all of this, we want to aggregate it and put it in a way that allows us to communicate it to coaches, to have them make better decisions about when to train hard and when to recover, as well as train more intelligently with our athletes. Specifically, our student athletes have a lot of unique challenges, exams, social calendars, sleep, that we're really trying to find intelligent ways to help improve their performance.
Alan, how did this collaboration come about? How did you guys get together?
Sure. So remember, there's no exercise science department here at Notre Dame like there is at plenty of other schools. So we had to find creative ways to address these sports science initiatives. Jordan and I talked about the needs on both ends. In ACMS, students want to analyze real data. They want to have that experience. And there's plenty of data to analyze. So we looked at applications and we picked the best and the brightest students, those who were interested in doing some computing, doing some math, and communicating the results in the real world.
Yeah. Now, you had a couple of teams that you focus on, but you work with the entire athletic department helping to interpret this data, including a women's basketball team that just won a national championship with 7 players. So talk a little bit about how the data may have helped them achieve what most people thought was not achievable with that smaller roster?
That's a great question. I think we've been collecting load monitoring technology. The girls wear a small accelerometer device that sits between their shoulders, and it tracks how much and how often they do sprints and jumps and all kinds of activities. So we've been collecting that for 3 years prior to this. Our team was able to analyze all of that data, and in the beginning of the season, we were able to get in front of Coach and help her design a plan that allowed us to maximize performance. Unfortunately, we had a lot of injuries this year, as you know. But I think what we were able to do is take the data we had and the direction we were going and help maximize those girls that were available and keep them healthy. And, luckily we won a national championship, which was phenomenal.
So is this going to be a bigger and bigger piece of the training and fitness of college athletes going forward? What do you think, guys?
Oh, I think it's integral. I think data is everywhere, and anyone that can collect it, interpret it, is really going to have a real advantage over our competition.
It's here to stay. The world's not going back.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. It's my job now to toss it down to a guy who I bet wishes he had access to all this data when he was playing both for Notre Dame and the Redskins. Let's go back to our Hiller family midfield set with, again, our marathon man, Joe Theismann. He's here like all day.
Oh, thank you, Jack. It's good to be back. We're excited to be joined here by our softball coach, Deanna Gump, after 21 years as the head coach. And I should say 17 as a head coach,
Right.
21 years here at the university.
Yeah.
Been an unbelievable ride for you.
It's been a crazy ride.
Now, I was talking to Kevin Kerrigan earlier,
Yeah.
30 years as a coach, you 21. What is it when you come here to the University of Notre Dame that, the students leave and come back, but
Right.
the coaches don't leave and come back, they just stay? What is it about the university?
I just think we're smart enough to know when we have a great thing going. I mean, we're at this amazing place that is, it's just so much bigger than the game. And when you get to play for something that's bigger than just the game, it's something that you're so proud of and you want to be part of, and you want to be as great and represent all the things that Notre Dame represents.
See, you train the young ladies to move on into society and get jobs and get forward in their lives. But yet, yourself personally, tell me about what it's like to be a customer service rep for Delta Airlines as your first job.
Come a long way, huh?
I figured somebody said, ask her the question. I'm sure that's interesting. Yes, Jack, you're the one.
You know what? That was my first job out of college, and I learned a lot about just dealing with people and relationships.
Oh my goodness, you'd have to.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you get the good, bad, and the ugly at the airport. So.
I spend half my life, more than half my life, traveling through airports. I know what you mean, and I always look at the customer service reps and the people behind the counters, and I think, if I think I'm having a bad day, 5 seconds from now, yours is probably going to be worse. It's the way it just goes.
Oh, boy, I saw it all early.
Speaking of worse, the weather has not been very cooperative for you either, has it?
Mother
Is it difficult?
Nature has not been our friend this last month and a half. It's been a little bit crazy. It's kind of been everywhere we go, too.
Between injuries and Mother Nature.
Yeah, I always believe that, when you hit adversity, it's going to make you better. And we are fighting and fighting and fighting through adversity right now with the injuries that our team have had and the crazy, crazy weather that we've been playing in. We're going to fight through it. And luckily, we put ourselves in an awesome position early. We did have some good weather early when we were on the road. And we put ourselves in a great position. So now we're just going to fight through it and see where we end up.
Tell me about your strikeout cancer initiative that you have.
It's something we're super proud of, and it's been going on for the last 8 years. We started when my daughter was diagnosed with leukemia when she was 4 years old, and she did a great job, and my staff put together the Strikeout Cancer for kids in our community who are fighting cancer. So every year we put on an awesome weekend, and all the money goes towards all the kids and families in this area who are fighting cancer. And I'm proud to say this year we raised about $50,000 for the kids and families here.
Wow, that is wonderful.
Yeah, it's something we're really proud of.
Now, this past weekend was sort of a celebration for the softball team.
Yeah.
30 years.
30 years.
What was it like having some of the ladies come back after so many years and listen to their stories?
It was the best part. And when we put this thing together, we were just hoping people would come back and make time. So many of our alumni came back and all the coaches came back, and it was the most wonderful night. And we had stories from each generation, from each 10 years of softball, and it was hilarious and heartwarming, and tears were flowing. And I think that It's just amazing what this program has done for so many people, and I'm so proud to be part of it. And I'm so proud of who all the girls who have come through, because they're making a difference in their lives of everybody around them.
You know, it's funny too. Like I said, I talked to Kevin. You look at the world of football, baseball. So many games have evolved and changed.
Yeah.
How has women's softball changed?
Oh gosh, women's softball has changed dramatically, bigger, stronger, faster, and the game is fast. I think that's why people love it. The minute you turn on TV,
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I sit and I watch. You know, I watch. I'm just amazed.
Yeah.
My daughter was a fast pitch softball.
Okay.
Amy was unbelievable, and I look at the ladies and I go, wow, incredible.
It's big, fast, strong, and the game is fun because it is so fast and it's so powerful now. Once you're in, you're hooked, and I love that about it.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Good luck the rest of the year. I hope everybody heals.
Thank you.
You get
Joe.
healthy.
We need it.
You start winning, and you get some good weather.
That would be great.
It would be a good start. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Jen, back to you.
Joe, I'm here at the new Rasmus Family Club on the 8th floor of the Duncan Student Center, and I'm joined now here by the Director of Sales and Marketing for our Venue ND, Megan Ekatu. Megan, thank you so much for joining us here. Can you tell us a little bit more about what we're seeing up here on the 8th floor?
Absolutely. Well, so food is the most important thing about what we do with all of our events here. It's actually my favorite part of everything that we do. So we have one of our best university partners here with University Catering, Chef Giuseppe. He's making a beautiful salad for us today. Chef, do you want to show us what you were doing today?
Absolutely. Thank you, Megan. And yes, food is our favorite part and one of the most important things. So thank you for the introduction. So we are going to make a salad today. Today is the beginning of spring, right? Now, we don't have all the vegetables that are near us coming into season, but I have this beautiful display of vegetables that when they're in season, we'll pick these up seasonally. And this is one of the things that we offer. So you have an event, you come through, and we'll actually make you a salad pretty much a la carte. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with some Bibb lettuce. Beautifully nice, delicate lettuce, right? So this is one of those ones where we just pick it, we tear it, we're going to add it to our bowl. Just a few pieces. And I'm going to make this a tossed salad. I've got some beautiful chives. These are coming up in the area now currently. So we're going to do a few fresh chives. And you know, our salads can vary, right? So we like to say with the seasonality of things. Tomatoes are not local yet, but these are beautiful tomatoes. We're going to do a few tomatoes. We're going to do a couple nice wedges. You know, we like to stay with the spring onions and the ramps and the leeks and the fiddlehead ferns, things like that, as they come into season. I'm going to take the bowl over here. I've got some beautiful peppery arugula that I'm going to add into this salad. And we're going to do a little bit of this right on.
All right, and while Chef Giuseppe is putting together our nice salad, I'm going to ask Megan a few more questions. Megan, what kind of memorable events have you been able to hold through at Venue ND?
Well, absolutely. So Venue ND's mission was really to centralize all the events and reservation on all the beautiful event spaces we have here at Notre Dame Stadium and across campus, so really at the Morris Inn and also our golf course and things like that. So what we've been able to do is we take a great food and beverage experience and we pair that with a team building event or a product launch down on the field, and really who wouldn't want to be up here in this gorgeous space overlooking Notre Dame Stadium and the rest of campus.
And that was going to be my next question for you. I mean, what makes having an event at Notre Dame so special?
Well, first of all, so many people don't even realize that you can meet on a college campus, and then you take all the things that I just talked about. So you could do team building and do Compton Family Ice Arena and do curling. You could do yoga down on the field, dodgeball, really whatever suits your group's needs, and then you have the most comfortable beds in the whole world over at the Morris Inn, and then you do a great reception up here, and it really is everything that you need, and everything that we do here goes back, all the profits go back to Notre Dame's academic mission, so we really are serving the students as well.
And one more thing I wanted to ask you, that's not all. I understand that there's a way to have dinner on the 50-yard line?
Yes. So we are here, and we really, really want to connect people with things that are just going to be memorable, that your guests are going to be talking about for years to come. And it is really our job to put your event over the top with this destination. So we could do dinner on the 50-yard line, photos on the field, really whatever is going to touch, play like a champion sign. And we just want your attendees to come here, run around, play some football, come up here, have some drinks, have some wonderful food and beverage with University Catering, and go on your way and have a fantastic experience here at Notre Dame.
All right. And you guys, Venue ND is the person to contact if you want to have any special event?
Yes, absolutely. So 574-631-1400 is the best way to reach Venue ND.
All right, let's take one last look at this salad. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I want some right now. Thank you so much, Chef Giuseppe. Thank you, Megan, for answering our questions. And Justine, I'm going to send it back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Jen. In the fall of 2016, rock and roll legend Todd Rundgren served as an artist in residence for the Department of Film, Television, and Theater here at Notre Dame. And 2 years later, we're excited to announce he's coming back to Notre Dame for a special concert this fall. And joining us now to discuss Todd's time at Notre Dame and his return is Ted Mandel, Associate Teaching Professor in the Department of FTT. I'm an FTT grad, so welcome back to Notre Dame Day. Ted, first of all, how did you convince him to come do this, and what was the reaction when he did sign on?
Well, you know, he has a great foundation called the Spirit of Harmony Foundation that advocates for music education and youth, and so that's kind of how we connected with Todd. And yeah, I was kind of surprised that he said yes, and actually when he came the first time, he said, I want to teach a course, I want to work with students. And so he was here for 10 days. And when I told people on campus who were of my generation, they were like, wow, and blown over. And when I told students, they were like, who? And then they called their dad, and they're like, wow.
Or they Googled.
That's right, that's right.
So what did he teach in this 10-day course?
So he was here, he taught a course called Exploring the Creative Muse. The idea of teaching students how to be more creative, thinking out of the box, being original in whatever artistic venture that they're in. And it was really, really successful. And we love creative students.
What do you think he brought to the Notre Dame community? You don't hear about a course like this all that often.
You know, what I think it really showed was that we have a lot of students who are great grade getters. They're maybe engineers, biology majors, whatever. They're very focused, but they have this creative side to them that they always wanted a creative outlet. They may play guitar, they may be singers. And this gave them the opportunity when Todd came to actually perform with Todd in concert at the DeBartolo Performing Arts Center, which was just an amazing event.
Well, we actually have another very special guest joining us now via the Notre Dame Day hotline, the one and only Todd Rundgren, who's currently on his reunion tour with his legendary 80s band, Utopia. Hey, Todd, how's the tour going? Where are you playing tonight?
We're on our bus on our way to Dallas. We did Houston last night. That was our third gig, so still pretty early on in the reunion experience. We're still a little bit nervous when we get on stage because of the volume of music that we have to perform. But otherwise, you know, we're feeling pretty good, I think.
What did you love about your time here at Notre Dame that made you want to come back?
Well, I mean, it's the kids, really. You know, they're kids to me. I'm almost 70 years old. They're grown-ups, but to me, it's great to kind of interact with people who have yet to be cynical about the possibilities of the future and such. So I always get kind of rejuvenated and refreshed whenever I get an opportunity to hang out with some younger academics and artists, and I kind of do this a lot. I've done it at several different schools, so I just enjoy that exercise in general, and especially at a place like Notre Dame, which is sort of, you know, a lot of people don't realize how small the campus is comparatively, and so it's a real family in that regard, and I enjoy that vibe as well.
So for this special concert this fall, you have some longtime band members that will perform with you. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's the group that I've usually been touring with. We've got Prairie Prince and Jesse Grass, Kaz and Sultan. I think Greg Hawkes may be part of that as well. It's my usual lineup. Which makes me comfortable, you know, in that sense. Sometimes I have to come and improvise what I'm going to do because I don't do so many solo shows, as I used to do, where it's just me and a guitar or something like that. So I've got a much larger range of possibilities now that I've got my whole band with me.
And it's Play Like a Champion themed, is that right?
Yeah, well, that was essentially the theme when I was there the last time, and I don't see why that would change. You know?
All right, we're getting some early tidbits here. We're getting a special preview. Well, Todd and Ted, thank you both so much for joining us. Looking forward to this special concert coming up. Todd gets to come back.
Students are excited to perform with Todd, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
When I come back on campus, it brings back many memories.
The Fighting Irish playing their last game for Hereford-Segan, upset Alabama.
I think Dad's best known for his Hall of Fame football career. He was a coach, a teacher.
Sometimes we learn from having adversity. At least they will know how to meet the next challenge.
But probably his most important role was the protector of the family. When my children were diagnosed with Niemann-Pick type C, Dad jumped in with both feet.
After the grieving, we decided, what are we going to do about this?
Mike and Cindy Parsegian lost 3 of their 4 children to Niemann-Pick type C, a rare degenerative neurological disease without a cure. The University of Notre Dame's Bowler-Parsegian Center for Rare and Neglected Diseases is working to combat this deadly disease.
I'll never forget when the Parsegian family visited us for the first time here at Notre Dame, looked me in the eye and said, "Can you help us?"
Professor Paul Helquist is part of a national effort that has helped improve treatments for Niemann-Pick type C.
I feel privileged to have been part of a very large team that is finally reaching this point of tremendous promise to either slow or stop the progress of this terrible disease.
Have you fallen?
No.
Bumped into anything?
Nope.
After our daughter began these treatments, the light in her eye came back, the laughter. Every day I hope there's another discovery, and hope means everything to us as a family.
My dad used to say, the Lord gives us burdens, but he also gives us shoulders. Dad's legacy is carried on the shoulders of doctors and scientists who've rallied to fight the disease.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting for the lives of children.
We are the Fighting Irish.
Welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I'm Jack Nolan, and I'm here with 2 students representing Notre Dame's chapter of Engineers Without Borders. The student service group has been working to provide clean water to the Alfred and Sarah Bilingual Academy in Sangmalima, Cameroon, and the surrounding community. Stephen Landy and Madeline Wezolowski are 2 student leaders in the group. Stephen, Madeline, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, the first question that we have is, tell us about what you're doing in Cameroon.
Sure. So our mission is to help communities meet their most basic human needs through engineering projects. So we've partnered with the community of Sangmalima in Cameroon to do just that. They identified a need for safe, accessible drinking water in their community. So for the past few years, we've been working with them to really understand that need and come up with solutions that are both attractive and sustainable for the community.
Now, Madeline, how does this project impact a community like Sangmalima?
Well, the biggest impact we've seen is with the students of the Alfred and Sarah Bilingual Academy. They are able to access clean water throughout their school day and then can bring up to 2 liters of water home with them each day. This access to reliably clean water allows them to decrease their chances of contracting a waterborne disease, which can cause them to miss school. And so this clean water really puts an emphasis on their education. In addition, we help serve the surrounding community. There was actually a woman whose well we tested on our last trip, and it was full of contaminants, and she had fallen sick from the water. And so now she has access to a financially affordable and clean water very close to her home.
Why do you think that engineering students should take part in this program?
Well, when students perform service in an engineering context, it's really a win-win for everybody. So many Notre Dame students have an inclination towards service, and when they do it through a program like ours, they get to translate the skills they're learning in the classroom directly to real-world problems right away. And so it just gives them a whole new level of confidence in their engineering abilities, gives them confidence in their leadership skills, and when they go internationally, it gives them a cultural competence that they otherwise may not have.
Madeline, what is the next step in the Sangmalima Water Project?
Well, this August, Stephen and I, along with 4 other students and 2 of our mentors, will be traveling back to Sangmalima to perform monitoring and assessment. So we'll be looking at the well that was constructed last year and collecting data on how it's impacting the community and how we can increase its impact. In addition, we'll be looking into assessing how we can expand the project and make water even more accessible to the people of Sangmalima. In addition, we're looking into possibly doing sanitation and hygiene projects because while waterborne diseases are very problematic in the developing world, so are things that come along with poor hygiene, including like not washing your hands. In addition to our work in Sangmalima, these donations are going to help us to expand to a second project in the near future, which will allow more of our students to get involved in project work and travel.
Now, I know you have advisors in this university project, so you don't make all the decisions yourselves necessarily, but how could people watching this help you with this project? Is there a way with funds or assistance, or how could other people get involved? Is there a way for them to get involved?
Yeah, so one of the biggest ways to help us out is always with funding. So we pay for most of the cost of implementation as well as travel. So that all adds up very quickly. It's not cheap to put in the kind of infrastructure that they need. So financial contributions are always very welcome.
You have both been there for 2 weeks already.
Yes.
What did you learn? What was that like for you? I'm going to assume it was your first trip to Africa. What were you expecting, and what did it turn out to be?
I think that a lot of people have a certain vision of what Africa's like, and it was very underdeveloped compared to what we have here, but everyone there was very joyful and excited to have us, and very much like us, and in many ways we were able to experience the same things that they were feeling, and so it was really great to especially interact with the students. They had a lot of the same goals and dreams that we had and wanted to go to college and have full-on careers as an engineer or a doctor just like we have.
I've had an opportunity in recent years, the last 20 years, to go to Europe. I was in Russia a few years ago, and I find for me it changes my perspective on some things. Did you come back, either one of you, with maybe a different perspective with how you deal with some things here in the States, or a different view?
For sure. It really makes all of our problems seem so much smaller. You go to a place where they don't have clean drinking water, and they're still so joyful and so happy to be living the life that they're living. And it really just puts things in perspective when you come back home.
And certainly, I mean, I do a lot of the sports here at Notre Dame, and I notice a lot of the student athletes, when they leave, get back involved with the community. That's really what you're doing is really part of the culture of Notre Dame to a degree, is part of what you learn to do and almost have a driving desire to do, is to help other people. Does this seem natural, Madeline, that you be involved in something like this? It
does. We are definitely pushed towards service here at the university, and it's been a huge part of my experience as a student here, not just through Engineers Without Borders, but through a lot of opportunities I've had.
Well, in projects like this, you also need to be good spokespeople to get support, and you both just did a terrific job. So I thank both of you for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. We are now going to pass things off to Johnny Soper, who is at the Hiller Family Midfield Performance stage downstairs. Johnny.
Hey, thanks so much, Jack. I don't know how I got so lucky to be with the food here, but when most people think of college students and cooking, images of ramen and cold pizza probably come to mind, but that's not the case with our next guest. Current sophomore Eduardo Luna has made quite the name for himself with his cooking abilities, so much so that he's known as the student culinarian here on campus. He's here to give us a small taste, pun intended, of what he can do. Eduardo, welcome to Notre Dame Day.
Thank you.
Give us your Notre Dame introduction, residence hall, major, hometown.
So I'm a current resident of Knott Hall. I'm majoring in political science and economics, and I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona.
Tell us a little bit how you got involved with food and specifically cooking in the dining hall here at Notre Dame.
Yeah, so that's a pretty funny story. So initially when I first started, I just started off as a job. Then one day one of the cooks had called out, and so essentially they needed help. And they told me, hey, like, you know, you look like you know what you're doing. So they pulled me aside, put me on a grill, you know, and then just started cooking. A couple days later, Executive Chef Larson pulled me aside, and he's like, hey, like, I like what you're doing. You have some great potential, and, you know, we want to have you on our team. So essentially that's how the magic started, and look at me, I'm here today.
Okay, that had to have been a little bit intimidating. Was it intimidating at all? I mean, you were thrown right into the fire with all those professional chefs.
Yeah, so when I first initially started, I had absolutely zero experience. But, I was taken under the wings, and I've gotten to learn so many different skills. And so now I've learned so much. I've gotten to work with ingredients that I've never thought I would work with before, and I've loved it ever since.
Okay, tell us about what you brought for us here. By the way, I'm going to have to give this all a taste test after the segment here, but let's start with this salad.
Yeah, so what we have here, we have an antipasto salad, which is the special of today. And it's a series of mixed greens with Genoa salami, pepperoncini, ham, red pepper, and, topped off with cheese and mixed in with an Italian vinaigrette. Over here to the side, we have one of the more popular ones that we have here on campus. It's the Southwest chicken salad. It's essentially, again, mixed greens mixed with the tortilla slices, roasted peppers, corn, black beans, and then a breaded chicken fillet. Over here, we have another salad. It's more popular among our vegetarian friends. We have here, again, mixed greens with cucumber, tomato, red onion, and then, mixed in again with an Italian vinaigrette.
This looks fantastic, by the way. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so what we have here, we have lemon capered chicken on a base of roasted potatoes, and then it's garnished off with a little bit of cheese and other stuff to top it off. And then over here to the side, we have some of the Indian food that we're actually serving today. So today is Indian food night, and so we have here some basmati rice, some chicken tikka masala, some dal, some roasted cauliflower, some naan bread, and just a whole other things that just complement the dishes really well. So it's one of the more popular ones on our Monday nights.
What is your favorite thing to cook in the dining hall at Notre Dame?
Oh, hands down, it has to be the Southwest chicken salad. It's one of the more popular ones, and I love it. Just everything's perfect about it, and it reminds me a lot of my childhood.
We were talking before the segment. The Southwest salad, particularly amongst students, is one of the more popular items in the dining hall. It's only served once a week on Thursdays. Tell us how busy the dining hall is during that lunch period on Thursdays when you're serving the Southwest salad.
Yeah. So on average, we do around 1,200 servings of it, and it's so popular that the lines usually go all the way around, and we have people waiting for 15, 20 minutes just to get a salad, and when they go, they usually get maybe sometimes even 2 or 3 servings just to not go through the line again. So it's super, super popular, and it's well liked among the students.
Okay, so I know you're an econ major, but has your experience here at Notre Dame working with the chefs in campus dining, has it maybe forced you to think about maybe going into a career with food?
Oh yeah, for sure. I am definitely thinking about opening up my own restaurant after having the basics of knowing how to cook, but also having the economics side of it. I'm definitely well prepared to go in that direction, and yeah, I've definitely really considered it.
That's a fascinating story. By the way, you can come to Keenan Hall anytime. Cook for me if you'd like to. It's totally okay. Hey, thanks so much for joining us today on Notre Dame Day, Eduardo. Now we're going to head back up to the Grosjean family loft with Justine Ward in the studio. Justine?
Thank you so much. Well, Mother's Day is right around the corner, and we have a hot tip for you guys. 2 Notre Dame grads started a floral company. It's Books. It's an online floral service founded in 2012 by John Tavis and Juan Pablo Montufar. They're going to join us now from Ecuador via the Notre Dame Day video hotline. So the Chief Supply Officer, Juan Pablo Montufar. Juan Pablo, thank you so much. Welcome to Notre Dame Day. How are you?
Hi, Justine. Thank you for having me. I'm doing wonderful.
How did you and John meet?
So John and I met in 1996 as freshmen in Dillon Hall on the 3rd floor. John was a finance major, and I was a biochem major, and yet our shared love of music made us start a band that we like to think was great, but objectively was probably kind of horrible. And John and I have been friends ever since. I'd like to think that his friendship, one of the things that I got from him was to get rid of a stage fright that I always have. And as you can tell right now, I don't anymore. So I always like to thank John for letting me live up to my full potential.
You're doing fabulous. So why did you two decide to start this company?
So years later, we were always close friends, right? And so in talking about the flower industry, we had a discussion about how frustrating it was to be a consumer of flowers and a grower of flowers. So John had been purchasing flowers for his loved ones. I had been growing flowers, and we realized that there was a big disconnect between the grower and the consumer of the flowers in the traditional floral industry in the United States. And so that said, we got to thinking, and we analyzed current competition and the market conditions, and we thought that it was right for a startup that had the best interest of the consumer and the grower in mind for a change. We started with very little investment and just a lot of trust, and here we are now, many years later and many millions of stems later.
So what separates the Books Company from other online floral services?
Well, it's a complicated industry, right? So I think that there's a lot of things that separates Books from the rest of the industry, but I think that the most important things are from the consumer side. Our website and our strategy is fully transparent. There's no bait and switch marketing or extra fees or anything like that. So as a consumer, I think that you have the trust of knowing that what you see is what you're going to have to pay and what you're going to have to get. And from the sourcing side, I think that there has always been a tendency in this market to ignore responsible sourcing, meaning fair labor practices, good environmental practices, and there is absolutely no need to ignore said practices, because at the end of the day, what's good for the grower and what's good for the environment is good for the consumer. And so I believe that our customers understand that, and that's what has allowed us to grow at the rate that we have so far.
And you are based in Ecuador. Why did you choose Ecuador as a place to source your flowers?
So there's a couple of reasons, right? First of all, I'm Ecuadorian, and I am actually one of about 12 family members going back to the 40s that have gone to Notre Dame from Ecuador and that have returned to Ecuador. So first answer, I was here. But the more complicated answer is that I've always been attracted to floriculture in Ecuador specifically for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think it's a fairly noble industry, a very noble industry actually, to Ecuadorian society and to the Ecuadorian economy, especially to women. Floriculture employs about 70% women here in Ecuador. And second of all, the roses grown in Ecuador are the best in the world. And I know that I'll get a lot of disagreement on that, but it's just objectively true.
No, I like it. Bold. I like it.
Well, the fact that we're in the equator, right, and we get year-round luminosity, the fact that we have a superb skill set that is like 30 years in the making in terms of labor, volcanic water, altitude helps to grow bigger flowers. There's many reasons why Ecuadorian roses are known, fairly so, as the best in the market. And so coming into Ecuador to a business that gives back to the community and that you can stand behind in terms of quality to the consumer, you'd be a fool not to take that opportunity.
Can you show us some of these flowers?
Sure.
Okay.
So in my house, there's always flowers all the time because we're constantly trying to innovate in terms of new varieties and also testing for quality. So here, for example, I really like this guy. Beautiful. It's one of the first zinnias ever grown in Ecuador. Having a little bit of trouble with its vase life, but that's my job to fix it. Hopefully my training in biochem and biology will help a little bit. Here, for example, is a very special rose that we harvested the other day. It's a little bright, but I like it because it looks like a peony and it's very big. And it'll open up very beautifully in like a garden style. Also has a lovely scent. What else do I have here? The underrepresented flower of the world, Astromeria, or like Peruvian lilies.
They are so perfect, they almost look fake. I know they're not fake, but that's how perfect they are.
They are absolutely real. So I don't know if I should take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment, definitely.
Those are the flowers that I have for you today.
Thank you so much. This is such a cool concept. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us and all that you've been doing to establish this company in Ecuador. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. We're going to take a peek at social media now. Jonathan, what is going on, sir?
Hey, thanks so much, Justine, and thanks to all of you that have joined in, helped make Notre Dame Day 2018. It's such an amazing tradition now. It's part of what Notre Dame's made of. We're in our 5th year, and thanks to all of you. We're approaching 21,000 gifts. Just a tremendous, tremendous effort from the entire Notre Dame family around the world. So from all of us here to all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't yet, go online, make that $10 gift, NotreDameDay.nd.edu, and cast your 5 votes to allocate this year's $1.1 million challenge fund. We're looking at the top of the leaderboard here, and while The Bowler Parsegian Center was the beneficiary of one of our $500 hourly challenges earlier in the day. The real story is at the top of the leaderboard between St. Ed's and the Parsegian Medical Research Fund, neck and neck right now. For that top slot overall. I think this is going to go back and forth at least a few times before we end with you just after midnight Eastern time tonight. And it's still, no matter what, everybody's a winner here on Notre Dame Day. St. Ed's is taking home probably around $40,000 from the Challenge Fund when all is said and done, and Parsegian as well. It's really about pride points at this point, so if you have supported Parsegian already today on Notre Dame Day, or you supported St. Ed's already on Notre Dame Day, and you want to get that top champion slot, now's the time to go to your friends and relatives, activate more folks in your networks, have them make their $10 gift, and cast their 5 votes. We also have our 1842 challenge. The clubs are very close right now. I encourage all of you that have been giving and voting on behalf of Notre Dame clubs, see where you guys are at in terms of your category challenges. The winners from those categories will receive an additional $1,800 at the end of Notre Dame Day, and we're going to cover those quite a bit through the end of the day as well. So it's been an exciting few days, and I know that Parsegian's done a lot of great stuff on social media, and it just goes to show a little bit of work on social media. It shows up on the leaderboards, right, Sarah?
Yes, I've been keeping an eye on all the social media, and the Parsegian Fund has been active on all outlets for a couple days now,
Yep.
and I think they're really starting to kick it in now because they've got the esteemed students, the master's program. They've been active all day, talking to their friends, talking to their family, putting that word out on social media, and it just really seems to be making a difference here.
We've had an amazing show. What can we expect in the next hour?
Well, we've got a lot coming up. So we've got Heidi Benninger Burnett and Carrie Myers, the Sacred Music Choir, Chris Stevens, and Rob McColgan.
Well, again, an amazing show so far. Hamilton coming up later tonight. We'll have much more Notre Dame Day 2018 coming up right after this. Thanks so much, Sarah, for being with us.
Yes, it's been great.
Mosquito-borne diseases are common in Belize. In the summer of 2016, the Zika virus swept through our country, affecting hundreds of families. But we had no way of recognizing the volume or severity of infections, so we could respond in a timely manner.
After I got Zika, my daughter caught it too. It's scary how quickly this virus is spread.
Our deficiencies in diagnostic capacity to detect these viruses resulted in having to send blood samples out of the country and waiting up to 6 weeks for results. We owed it to our citizens and the international community to find a better way.
Professors John Grieco and Nicole Lachey from the University of Notre Dame have partnered with the Belize Ministry of Health and Mayo Clinic on a 5-year project to help strengthen the country's ability to respond to Zika and other mosquito-borne viruses.
We don't yet know how widespread Zika is here. The symptoms can present in the same way as many other tropical illnesses, resulting in cases going underreported.
We're helping them identify outbreaks right here in Belize, usually within 1 week, allowing officials to treat areas immediately, eliminating mosquitoes before the diseases can spread. And we're building a complex database to track and identify all kinds of mosquitoes and tropical diseases. In this technology,
We're also conducting training, providing healthcare professionals the knowledge and tools to handle these outbreaks themselves.
the cases are.
And that may really be the most lasting legacy of our efforts.
Our partnership with Notre Dame and Mayo Clinic is making Belize a safer place to visit and a safer place to live.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting mosquito-borne diseases.
We are the Fighting Irish.
This is NYPD 701. We're off your port quarter now.
Every day, thousands of vessels enter ports in the United States. And with that comes the risk that any one of them could be carrying nuclear material.
We're going to be conducting radiation sweeps of your vessel.
Since 1993, there have been more than 2,500 incidents of illicit trafficking in radioactive materials worldwide. Dirty bombs pose a grave threat to this country. to mitigate that threat, we need strong security on the home front, but also strong deterrent measures.
At the University of Notre Dame, engineering professor Tony Simonetti applies nuclear forensics technology to trace the sources of illicit radioactive materials.
An essential part of deterrence is to catch not only those trying to use the weapons, but also those supplying the raw materials. By analyzing chemical signatures, we are able to trace seized materials to their source anywhere in the world.
In partnership with the Department of Homeland Security, Professor Simonetti's lab is developing a comprehensive global database of uranium deposits and a method of analysis, so security experts can combat the threat of dirty bombs faster and more effectively.
I came to Notre Dame knowing that I wanted to serve in the Navy, but it's been incredible to discover that same dedication and opportunity for service working in Professor Simonetti's lab.
Right now in America, there is a real shortage of researchers in the field of nuclear forensics. So it's incredibly gratifying to know that the students I'm teaching will go on to be an essential part of the line of defense that keeps this country safe.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to protect our country.
We are the Fighting Irish.
I am the first
in my family
to go to college.
But not just any college. I'm going to Notre Dame.
I grew up the son of a carpenter and a high school teacher.
Until I was about 8 years old, I was sleeping on a couch in our living room.
College was not an option financially for any of us.
I was actually on Notre Dame's campus, and I'd been speaking to a financial aid counselor.
And he told me that I just had to worry about the cost of transportation.
And I literally screamed.
My voice broke and I was overwhelmed. I couldn't actually believe it.
I called my mom and I told her, you don't have to pay anything.
If my donor was standing right here,
I'd give him a big hug, tell him,
I'm here because of you.
The opportunity to attend Notre Dame has been the greatest gift of my life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The world needs a university that educates men and women who accept their responsibility to serve others. We will strive to build a community where education, inquiry, and faith combine to respond to the demands of justice. This is our goal. Let no one ever say that we dreamed too small.
An Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
We are the University of Notre Dame.
I am the first
in my family
to go to college.
But not just any college. I'm going to Notre Dame.
I grew up the son of a carpenter and a high school teacher.
I was raised by my grandparents and I'm an only child. Until I was about 8 years old, I was sleeping on a couch in our living room.
College was not an option financially for any of us.
So when I received my financial aid letter, I was actually on Notre Dame's campus, and I'd been speaking to a financial aid counselor.
And he told me that I just had to worry about the cost of transportation.
And I literally screamed.
My voice broke and I was overwhelmed. I couldn't actually believe it.
I called my mom and I told her, you don't have to pay anything.
Because of donors and because of their gifts,
I was going to be able to attend without having the financial burden.
Your gift to Notre Dame has given me access to some of the greatest minds and resources a student could ever hope to have.
If my donor was standing right here,
I'd give him a big hug, tell him,
I'm here because of you.
And thank you for giving me the gift of Notre Dame. The opportunity to attend Notre Dame has been the greatest gift of my life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If a seed planted in dirt can one day preserve a species or cure the sick or resurrect a people withering economically, we dream of what a seed planted in the mind and heart can one day do.